this is Mickey. I hope everybody's doing well. Well, it's getting near the end of the year, and I thought I would do a video for two main reasons. Number one, I'd just like to go through some of the shortcuts that I use in Lightroom to help speed my workflow along and kind of share those with you. But more importantly, I would like to thank everyone who has signed up with my channel, given me comments and suggestions. Just made this so much easier and so much more fun. And to show my appreciation, I'd like to give away a backpack. So at the end of this short video, I'll show you the backpack and I'll show you how you can sign up to get a chance to win this backpack. Alright, to start out with, we're in Lightroom and we're in the library module and we're in the loop mode. So if you hit the E key, that brings you to the loop mode where you can see an individual picture. If you hit the G is in golf, you'll go into the grid mode, and this way you can see all the pictures, or at least some of them, all at one time. Now you can change the size of your thumbnails just by this little slider down here, so you can see more pictures at once, or you can open it up to where you see them just a few, but in a larger selection. If you select a single picture like number 3 here and hit the D as in Delta, you can see it'll take you into the develop module. Alright, so let's stay in the develop module, and the next shortcut that I use a lot is right here, the auto mode. When you click on auto, Lightroom uses some of its artificial intelligence and tries to give you a starting point of what it thinks is the right exposure and color of your photograph. Now, if you don't want Lightroom to do that all at once, let's just reset this. You can hold your shift key down and you can double click on every one of these parts here and it will show you individually what it's going to do. If you want to set them back to 0, all you have to do is double click on them. Don't hold your shift key. Shift key sets them up. Just double clicking on it removes those values, just like this. Now if you have a lot of the values set and you want to clear them off all at once, if you hold your option key down and click on each area, white balance, tone, and presence, it'll bring them all back to the starting point where when you first viewed your picture. The next shortcut that I use a lot is if you have a lot of pictures of the same scene and they're all exposure is off, but you just want to even the exposure out, and I'm just talking about exposure here. This is how you can do it. You can go to the first picture in the set that you're viewing and you can set your exposure to where you think it should be, and you want all the other pictures in this sequence to be the same exposure. What you want to do is come to the last picture that you want to set up as a similar exposure, hold your shift key down and click. You can see it highlights all those pictures. Now go back to the first one and you can see it's highlighted a little brighter, meaning this is our exemplar. So let's right click on it and we choose develop settings, match total exposures. When we do that, it'll go through all the pictures and set the exposure exactly the same. And that way you can review your pictures a little quicker, like in the grid mode, and they all have the same exposure, so you're not going there tweaking each one, and it helps the review of your photos just a little bit better. Alright, now that we've got all our exposures done correctly, let's move on to masking, and we have several shortcuts for that. The first shortcut we have is the K key. When we hit K, it opens up and gives us a new brush. And as we brush on, you can see this is our brush tool. Now you still would have to go in here and change all your settings if you wanted to turn your flow down or feather or density, but it's going to bring up the tool for you automatically. The next is our linear gradient, and that is the M key. So we hit M, you can see it's brought up a new mask, linear gradient, and we'll just bring it in right here. If we turn the overlay on, you can see that here is our linear gradient. The next one would be our radial gradient, and that is Shift M. And as you can see, it's now given us a new radial gradient. We'll just draw a radial gradient here. And we can turn the exposure up and down again. If we turn the overlay on, we can see the overlay. Now, if you want to use a lot, like when I'm processing, I like the radial gradient. So if I want to put radial gradients in different parts of the photograph, I can hit the N key. The N key will bring up a new mask of the last one that you used. So that since the last one we used was a radial gradient, when I hit the N key, it brings up a new linear gradient. I'll hit the N key again, brings up a new linear gradient. So this allows me to pop around the picture and bring in new linear gradients, or radial gradients, real quick without having to come up to the tool here to select another one. Now you can see we have a lot of these pins across everywhere, and sometimes this gets kind of annoying. So to get rid of them, all you have to do is hit the H key. When you hit the H key, then you can get a good view of your photograph without all the lines and the pins in there. You can still go in and make changes to that mask. So just because the pins are hidden doesn't mean you can't make changes. So hit the H key, brings the pins back. Next, let's talk about the overlay. As you can see, when I turn the overlay on, when I'm selecting a mask, we can see the overlay. If you hit the O key, it turns the overlay on and off. So O turns it on, O turns it off. If you want to change the color of your overlay, you can hold your Shift key and hit O, and it goes through a set of 4 different colors, and those colors are set by you, the user. To set those colors, you click on this little square right here, and it brings up the overlay color selection. Now you can see we have magenta, green, yellow, and blue. If you want some other different color in there, let's say we want red, we'll choose red. This box shows us what the current color is. You just hover over the box that you want to fill in and hold your mouse button down till it changes. All right, takes about a second or two. And now we'll choose like a dark blue. We'll hold, click and hold, and then we'll choose a dark red over here, click and hold. So now that we have those selected, we'll kill the little box here with the X. We'll have our overlay on. And you can see as I hit Shift O, it moves through those colors that I've selected. Alright, if you hit O again, it just turns it off completely. Now there's a feature I use all the time, and I like to make a vignette using a radial gradient, and we usually invert that. So if we make a new radial gradient here, and we're just going to make a wild vignette, we'll bring it down, and usually I invert it. Now you can hit the invert key, but you can also hit the apostrophe key, and it will invert that mask. So as you can see, it's inverted, so now I have a vignette in here because the mask has been inverted. You can also use this invert when you're doing a sky mask. So let's say we'll pick a sky mask, and you can see the sky has been selected. But let's say that I selected the sky, but that's not what I meant. I just wanted to invert it. I wanted the foreground to be selected. So if I hit the apostrophe key, you can now see that it is inverted to the foreground, or the background, however you want to look at it, and you can make your changes. Now you can also do that up here where you can invert the mask if you wanted to make a new mask, because when we invert, we're inverting it from the sky to the foreground. So we don't have 2 masks, we just have one, the inverted one. If we wanted to invert and duplicate, we would have to use this feature up here, duplicate and invert, and now we have a mask in the sky and we have a mask in the foreground. That makes 2 separate masks. So you have invert and you have duplicate and invert. And finally, the last one that I use a lot is sending a picture to Photoshop to work on it a little further, and you can do that easily with Command E. When you hit Command E, it launches Photoshop and brings your picture in. You can start working on your picture in Photoshop. Taking it back to Lightroom, you go to File, Save. When you do that, it takes all the changes that you saved and moves it into Lightroom and brings it in as a second picture. And here you can see it's 1 of 2, and it changes it to a TIFF because that's how I have it set up. Anytime I process a photograph in Photoshop, it takes it back to Lightroom as a TIFF file. Alright, let's get on to the important part about the backpack giveaway. Again, I want to thank everybody who has followed me on YouTube, sent me comments, suggestions, and supported this channel. I really, really appreciate it, more than you could ever understand. The backpack that I'm going to be giving away is a Low Pro Protactic 450 AW. It is about a 40-liter backpack. I've carried 2 camera bodies, at least 4 lenses, tons of accessories, and tripod. It's less than a year old, and it's in brand new condition and has all the parts to it. It's just a little bigger than what I can use, so instead of it just sitting in my closet, I'm offering it to whoever wins the giveaway, and I will send it to you free of charge. To win it, all I ask is that you're following me on YouTube and that you leave me a comment on what type of photography you most enjoy. At the end of 2 weeks, on December 19th, I'll put all those names in a hat and randomly draw a name, and I will contact the winner and just give me your address and how I can get this to you, and it'll be sent to you free of charge, no questions asked. Here we have a view of the back of the backpack. What's so good, it has these holders that you can strap more stuff on if you need to. The back is very well ventilated and padded, very comfortable to wear. Inside you have plenty of room for 2 bodies, 4 lenses, and more. There's an accessory pack that's included also. Side lets you store more things and access to cameras from the exterior, and that's on both sides, depending on how you want to set it up. There's some storage in the top with another pocket that's kind of a semi-hard shell. This is an accessory kit. Some more bags that store in or on the backpack by Velcro. Here you can see how much can be stored, and then it also can be stored inside at the bottom of the backpack. I usually carried a drone there. And this is a waist pack that you can make the backpack wear more comfortable on longer hikes. I hope this video helped you out and supplied some useful information on processing photos and using shortcuts in Lightroom. Again, I want to thank everybody who has supported this channel by watching and leaving comments. It really helps out in producing future videos. And I look forward to bringing you more videos on processing photos in Lightroom and helping you out any way I can. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.